Hello friends, I'm Dr. William Gorton, founding artistic director for the Greater Philadelphia Choral Society. This is the fourth installment in our Moments with the Maestro video series. I thought I might share with you tonight a few thoughts about giving in art. How many of you have heard someone say, "Oh, I love Moonlight Sonata," and then they would sit down and play something such as this? Okay, that's one way you could do it. Or you could do something a little in contrast to that, such as So as I play those two, I have very different feelings inside. But the most distinguishing thing for me, of course, is that in the second iteration, I turn my attention toward something, some essence, a spiritual quality, this element of energy, of prescient, emotive, all-encompassing, unifying spirit, you might say. Of course, these are all words to describe something that's difficult to describe. When we're working on a choral piece throughout the semester, we're preparing, of course, from the nuts and bolts, looking at the score, the pitches, rhythms, diction, articulation, dynamics, etc., etc. But those are just the form, as we illustrate in the creation myth of God making Adam from the dust of the earth. But it was just dust until when? When God breathed into man's nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. As we approach a performance, get closer to it, I begin to turn my attention wherever it is, wherever the pieces happen to be in their technical mastery. I begin to try to turn my own focus to this idea of communicating or entering this, invoking this spiritual essence of the piece. And hopefully then in the performance, when I am conducting, my attention is on that primarily. And it's interesting to see the change in the sound, the energy of the choir and the room when I change my focus to that generous place of bounty, a spiritual essence of moving emotion. A lot of my work lately has been inspired by the life and work and efforts of Bruce Lee, the martial artist who became famous in the early 70s through movies like Enter the Dragon. Most of you may be familiar with him and as a Hollywood actor, but also a very able martial artist. But Bruce wrote a lot about the philosophy that drove him and that took him beyond what was commonly accepted or typical in his art, in the area of martial arts. I find it interesting, by the way, that we call it martial arts. It's not just a pugilistic exercise, but it becomes, at its highest expression, something that's creative, fluid, and whose powers go beyond our discursive mind. And Bruce wrote a lot about this, and he said, of course I hope to become a famous martial artist and to demonstrate what can be done with the physical body when we're in line with the spirit. But he said, I also want to be an artist of life. That is to say that the inspiration that moves us in any particular form of art is also applicable to our lives. We're in a season of Thanksgiving. We're looking at Christmas coming up. We'll be buying presents for people near and dear to us, whether they need them or not. when it comes to making music, of course, we can, sometimes you buy those presents, by the way, in order to get approval or support or reciprocation from the people that we're buying the presents for. But that's not really giving, that's fishing. And in music, the same thing can happen. If we're up in front of an audience and we're trying to seek their approval, and that can be described as being concerned about the outcome of our performance or the quality of our performance, we're looking for something. We're looking for support, environmental support, because of course the ego's concern is to get that environmental support so that the food keeps coming in. That's concern is only with the physical body. But when we enter the spirit of creative abundance, then our expression comes out of a sense of fullness. I heard a very interesting quote by Sean Penn once, some years ago. He said, so many actors attempt to impress people rather than express something that they have. When I have a student that's about to sing a phrase, I say, if you feel the pressure, that's not time to do it, because you're acting from scarcity. You're trying to gain something. So you're anxious, you're fearful. And freedom of expression doesn't come in that frame of mind. So I say, wait, listen, let go of whatever it is you want to accomplish from singing well or whatever it happens to be. Wait until you're free from that altogether. Then, when you're no longer concerned about yourself or your performance, strike. And at that time, then you'll be giving rather than taking. It'll be a generous gift rather than an attempt to manipulate. So I just want to encourage you folks to think about those things, or invite you to, during the season. It never hurts to ask, why are we giving? What's behind it? Everyone has something to offer. And we're privileged to work in music where that offering is so strongly felt in a performance where the audience, the choir, the orchestra, all of us are together. But it is in invoking the spiritual, emotional, unifying presence of spirit that we have the greatest effect and that we feel fulfilled and unified. So this is what we're attempting to do in our concerts. We hope to see you there this weekend, December 4th, or next weekend, December 11th. And I wish you a very happy and fulfilling season in giving to those around you your attention, your love, your concern, and all those gifts that you have been blessed with. Thank you.